What's going on, everyone? It's Purple Haze here with another question. Are gamers missing the point about PlayStation's pivot to PC? If you ask me, the answer is yes. But before I dive deep into that and why I think that, I want to lay down a little bit of background and also kind of dig into the perceptions for why this persists. And the reason this is simple. Xbox is kind of with their strategy, putting everything everywhere, especially on PC, day and date. And it makes sense for PlayStation then to do the same thing. However, I think this logic misses a very big point. And that's that PlayStation not only is leading the market for high performing consoles, but is dominating that market. And when a business is dominating a market, the first thing they do is not just leave off and go into a different market that they don't have competitive advantages, like the PC market, and abandon their market that they have the competitive advantage, such as a high performing console market. What they do is they fortify that position. So I fully believe PlayStation to fortify it with not only third party exclusives, first party exclusives, timed exclusives when they can, but also with accessories and other things to really make the PlayStation ecosystem somewhat sticky once you get in it. Now, before y'all talk to me about the PC gamer and what they represent, I'm about to go there. So let's compare the PC gamer versus the PlayStation gamer. And the biggest difference between these two, in my opinion, is the PC gamer has a higher willingness to spend on their gaming versus the PlayStation gamer. So basically, PC gamers, and I don't mean people who just have a PC and therefore they sometimes game, but people who actually have a dedicated PC that's made for gaming, those are roughly running between 1,000 and 2,000 on average, and can easily run up to 3 to 4 to 5,000. As for PlayStation gamers, it's between $400 and $700. What that means is for a secondary gaming device, which a lot of gamers actually have, it totally makes sense that a PC gamer who's already spending a couple of grand, if not several grand, it's not that much to ask them to potentially buy a PlayStation if there's a franchise or game that they don't want to have to wait for to get to PC. And therefore, that $400 or $500 on the PlayStation, it's cheaper many times than a lot of the CPUs they might be buying, the cooling systems they might be buying, definitely the GPUs they might be buying. That's where it doesn't really work the other way around, just because PlayStation gamers, their willingness to spend is only so much. And asking them to double it for a secondary device doesn't really make sense. The other thing I want to talk about PC gamers and who PlayStation is targeting, besides the ones that have a very high willingness to spend when it comes to gaming, the other group, these are people in locations and markets in which a console is actually more expensive due to either tariffs or taxes than a PC. And in those markets, PlayStation wants to ensure that they also can be in the ecosystem. This is why many times when we have PlayStation games that release in PC markets, 80 to 90% of the franchise is still sold within the PlayStation ecosystem, while roughly 10 to 15% at best is sold in the PC market. Just means they're trying to diversify their revenue, not that they're trying to totally move in that direction. And before anybody says, like, what? It doesn't make sense to buy the console just for a few games. I'll remind you, this is actually Nintendo's strategy, the king currently in console gaming console sales. And so many times Nintendo players will buy the console for just one, two, maybe three games at most. And so if you think about it like that, it makes total sense that PlayStation is going to try to be more like a Nintendo than an Xbox. Not to say one is better than the other or not. It's just to say that their strategies are different and one's going to definitely leverage the advantages that they have. Especially when we start to think about, can a game particularly sell a console? Well, we already know Black Myth Wukong did this in certain places, especially in China. We can almost certainly assure that Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to do the same thing in 2025 later on when it launches. And so PlayStation, knowing that it's going to be able to bring people in with some of these exclusives, being able to be the number one place, if you're looking at graphics or just looking at the ecosystem as a whole, being one of the top places to play these exclusives to console and or exclusives to PlayStation, they're going to make the barrier entry low enough for people to come in, but sticky enough for people to stay around a little bit longer. So in a way, what is old is new and what is new is old with PlayStation. And what I mean by that is PlayStation's best days were when they were having exclusive contracts with third-party developers as well as first-party exclusives and really making that central to the PlayStation ecosystem, providing more value to it. I think that is the direction they're going to continue to go. And hats off to PlayStation for getting to this position in the first place, right? It wasn't too much long ago that PlayStation was coming out of the PlayStation 4 era with a solid market lead, but quickly dropping that market share due to supply constraints. Also, this is the same PlayStation generation, which they've had some significant pivots, particularly in the VR space, as well as the space with live action, or not live action, but live service games. And then you think about they have had a change of CEO, as well as some investments that didn't necessarily pay off, thinking particularly Bungie as well as Concord. And for PlayStation to be in this position now, you can almost assure that they're going to double down on that ecosystem just because that's what's bringing people in. But that's what I have to say. What do you think? Do you think that PlayStation's going to follow Xbox? Do you think PlayStation's going to double down on this strategy and continue to try to provide value for their customers? Or do you think they're going to try to do something else? Let me know in the comments below. But until then, I don't care where you game, how you game, why you game, what you game on, how long you've been gaming. As long as you're gaming, you're good with me. And as always, this is Purple Haze, and the proof is in the playing. All right, take care, y'all. Later.